On March 6, the American Banker published an article titled CFPB Staff Evaluations Show Sharp Racial Disparities. The article exposed serious personnel problems at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, including evidence that the CFPB's own managers have shown distinctively different patterns in how they rate employees of different races. On April 2nd, we held a hearing in this subcommittee to discuss the reported pattern of abuse. Testifying at that hearing was Angela Martin, a senior enforcement attorney who shared her experience of discrimination and retaliation at the hands of a senior-level manager, as well as Ms. Misty Ryuchi, an independent third-party investigator who was hired by the CFPB to investigate Ms. Martin's claim of retaliation. Unfortunately, the CFPB and the National Treasury's Employees Union refused to provide the requested witnesses to testify at the April 2nd hearing. And yet, as we maintain, it is imperative that we are able to question Ms. Bach, Ms. Strong, and Mr. Knopp. Through our investigation, it has become clear to this subcommittee that they are the three individuals with the most knowledge of the disturbing treatment which women and minority employees were subjected to at the Bureau. It should also be noted that these witnesses have had ample notice that the subcommittee would seek their testimony. On March 20th, the subcommittee invited Ms. Bach and Ms. Strong to testify at the April 2nd hearing. On March 24th, the subcommittee invited Mr. Knopp to appear as a witness at the same hearing after Robert Caldwell, the president of NTEU Chapter 335, declined to testify due to medical reasons. Prior to the April 2nd hearing, the CFPB refused to produce Ms. Bach and Ms. Strong, claiming to protect the employees' privacy expectations and maintain the confidentiality of the agency's deliberative process, and the NTEU refused to allow the testimony of either Mr. Knopp or Mr. Caldwell as well. Following the hearing, however, the subcommittee continued to seek the witnesses' testimony. By letter dated April 22nd, Mr. Knopp was informed that the subcommittee would notice additional hearings in furtherance of its investigation and that it would compel Mr. Knopp's appearance if he declined to testify voluntarily. Similarly, in a telephone conversation with CFPB staff on April 23rd, the committee's majority staff stated that the subcommittee would seek to compel the testimony of Ms. Bach and Ms. Strong if the CFPB did not permit them to appear voluntarily. At this point, the compulsory process is appropriate because the witnesses have indicated they prefer to be subpoenaed in light of their desire not to testify voluntarily. Ms. Bach and Ms. Strong retained counsel to represent them in connection with the subcommittee's investigation. Mr. Knopp is in the process of retaining counsel for the same purpose. Counsel for Ms. Bach and Ms. Strong have informed majority and minority staff that their clients preferred to not give voluntary testimony and therefore encourage the subcommittee to authorize and issue subpoenas. Similarly, in a telephone conversation with the committee's majority staff on April 23rd, Mr. Knopp also requested the subcommittee compel his testimony by means of a subpoena. Congress's subpoena authority is inherent in the powers to make law. Once authorized by the House and its parent committee, a subcommittee may compel testimony in a variety of circumstances, including to support Congress's power to legislate and appropriate funds, Congress's function of deciding whether or not to legislate, and Congress's oversight of the administration of laws by the executive branch, and the essential congressional function of informing itself of matters of national concern. We believe today's hearing and markup is about those things. The subcommittee has a right to compel and receive the witness's testimony in this matter. The rules of the committee provide that pursuant to the rules of the House, a subpoena may be authorized and issued by a subcommittee in the conduct of an investigation, when authorized by a majority of the members voting and a majority being present. The subcommittee's investigation, like many inquiries throughout the history of the House, is for a proper legislative purpose, because it seeks to determine whether and to what extent agencies' maladministration has occurred and whether such problems have impaired the agency's ability to implement laws within its jurisdiction. I look forward to working with the ranking member, Mr. Green, and to the rest of the committee to further this investigation and get to the bottom of these disturbing reports of discrimination and retaliation at the CFPB. The ranking member is now recognized and moves to strike the last word and is therefore recognized.
Thank you. I so move. And